All right, so this story is absolutely beautiful and perfect because Donald Trump, the famous loser, has reportedly shut down his social media site, and I do that in quotations because it wasn't really a social media site. He initially said that he was going to form one that was going to be like a sort of competitor to Twitter, which he got banned from, obviously, and he portrayed this project as if it was going to be a competition with Twitter that many other people would be able to use, and they'd have millions of people that were on the service, and they'd create sort of a conservative version of Twitter. And what it actually turned out to be was just a blog, and I did a video that was covering exactly what it was. It was literally just like Twitter, but for one person, where he would just like do bite-sized little tweet type things and post them on his blog that people could then go read. And it was embarrassing because he was getting absolutely no traffic to this website whatsoever because it's not even interactive, right? It's not a social media platform. It's just his own personal blog that people would have to go out of their way to look at instead of just participating in a normal social media site. And this is just absolutely fantastic news here. Trump reportedly shut down his blog because it was being mocked as a loser. Okay, so former President Donald Trump reportedly walked away from his new blog because few people were reading it and many people were mocking it. Trump on Wednesday shut down the blog he launched less than 1 month earlier to share statements with reporters or supporters, and the Washington Post reports he ordered his team to put the webpage out of its misery after being upset by reports that it was drawing few readers. The former president reportedly had concerns that it could detract from a social media platform he hopes to launch this year. Trump still wants to launch some other platform, timing not yet determined, and didn't like that this first attempt was being mocked as a loser. So, again, this is what he portrayed as the original plan. They're trying to switch the narrative here and be like, oh, this was actually just a warm-up attempt and we have the real social media site coming in a couple months or something. That's a lie, okay? I don't believe that they actually have a legitimate social media site in the works. This was just a pure embarrassing failure from a loser like Donald Trump. And I think that it's absolutely hilarious because this is a guy who, while he was president, was constantly obsessed with bragging about ratings, and he would always say, oh, my speech had the best ratings and et cetera, et cetera. And now when he goes off on his own, he doesn't have anybody who's interested in what he has to say on his little stupid blog of nonsense. And I think that that's absolutely beautiful. But the other angle to think about this is what it really says about our current situation with our big tech companies and Twitter and social media and all these other platforms is that they have an extraordinary amount of power, because what they did was they banned the president of the United States from their social media platforms. And what basically happened was he kind of became significantly less relevant. And because he didn't have these other platforms like Twitter and Facebook to go on to say his little tweets every day and stuff, the news around him sort of quieted down a lot, and that infuriates him. Okay, this is a guy whose entire ego is centered around being the center of attention at all points, 24 hours a day, and constantly drawing up controversy. And so when he's not able to do that, it obviously damages his ego. But this really just says that these social media companies have an absurd amount of power that we're giving them. Okay, I've talked about in the past whether I agree with Donald Trump being banned or not. I don't think that he necessarily should have been banned off a lot of these platforms. But again, that's what happens when you have private companies who are allowed to determine who gets to participate in public discourse and who doesn't. And so if you're a conservative, okay, or you're a leftist like myself, we should both be able to agree then, right, that the answer to this is to regulate these social media sites as public utilities. That's how we should be treating them. We should be applying the rules of free speech, the constitutional protections for free speech that we have, to these social media sites, right? We already have laws in place that protect against instigating violence, etc. So you can charge people with those crimes, but for big tech companies and these oligarchs that control these companies to have unilateral, unchecked ability to take off and remove somebody from the public discourse because they just want to or feel like it, that is power that we should not be giving them. That's power that we as a public should have at our disposal. So those are basically just my thoughts on this. Again, really the main point is this is fucking hilarious. I love that Donald Trump is infuriated by the fact that his little blog, I guess if you want to call it, failed. And I don't believe at all that he's going to actually form some successful social media platform this year.